A little bit about me. As was mentioned, I'm a thoracic lung transplant surgeon at Toronto General. And prior to 2019, I really didn't have much interest or any sort of particular excitement about climate change or our impact in the OR. And these two amazing physicians from North York General came to our surgical grand rounds, and I should have their names listed here, I apologize, but and they spoke to us about, the impact of the OR on the carbon footprint and how, such a big waste producer, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason why I have this slide up is because I learned the term solastalgia, the distress produced by environmental change impacting on people while they're directly connected to their home environment. And I remember leaving that talk and thinking, oh my God, what are we doing? I went back to Toronto General and said, like, what's going on? We had a few sort of individual people working on green initiatives, but not a concerted effort. And so from that time on, it's been about 3 years, we have quite a robust green team. None of us are experts at all in any way. So I wanted to just sort of say that up front. This didn't come from education that I had in this. It's all been grassroots. Initiatives. And we have a whole team that's involved. And I think that's been key in every part of this, is having representatives from across the board to help us do these initiatives. So I'm going to skip down to the instruments. So one of the things that came to light was the reprocessed instruments. And the first time we mentioned this, we got immediate pushback, a lot from the supply chain people saying, oh, these are terrible, terrible quality. Like, we've had horrible experiences with them, reprocessed instruments in the past. It was like an immediate red flag that sort of almost threatened to stop all conversation about using these instruments. And it's, for those of you, I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with this program, but it's a Stryker program, and there's sort of two parts of it. So one of it is that you can actually collect. So, and this is how we started. So what you can do is collect the ligatures and Marylands and any single-use devices, and Stryker will drop off these specific bins to collect them in, and then they take them. So it's a recycling program by Stryker for these single-use devices. And, it's beneficial, obviously, from the green perspective, because it saves it from going into the landfill. But also, as we have learned doing a number of different initiatives in the OR, it comes along with a theoretical or real cost savings, which is then you don't have to pay for these devices to be thrown out. Like, your hospital has to pay for your garbage, so it saves it on that. And we have members of our energy and environment team on our green team, and they're totally key to helping us work through all of these initiatives. So that was very easy to implement. People don't mind recycling. So it was very easy to, gather the instruments and recycle them. And so we started up that for probably about a year or so. And then it came to our attention about these reprocessed devices. And so we started, the conversation about this, and it has taken some time to get it started. But basically, it's not taking a device that we've used in the OR, taking it upstairs, putting it through the sterilizer and using it again. And just as another little bit of information about me, I'm actually our medical director of our medical device reprocessing department. So I wear that hat as well. And so I have that perspective on reprocessing single-use devices, which we, as an organization, don't do. So I think because of that, because we have this policy, we don't use reprocessed single-use devices. That was where hesitancy came up from the beginning. But these are a bit different. Like, these are actually Health Canada approved. So what they do is they take the single-use devices, and then they actually, fully reprocess them. They do batch testing. They do all, and these have their own Health Canada approved ID number. So it's not the same as just, putting them through the sterilizer. Like, they actually are checked and tested and stuff by the company. And there's a ton of different products. The publications that we have are from the company, so obvious bias there. But this was, one of the publications that they showed us that for the ligature Maryland, it was preclinical comparison, but essentially there was no differences. Like, it wasn't worse, because everyone worries about the quality in terms of vessel sealing, et cetera. But there wasn't, the studies that they have didn't show any differences. There's tons of things that they actually do. So you have to, like, what we had to do is sit down with our procurement people and our supply chain people and say, okay, well, which of these do we actually order? And there's a lot of different options. Like goes from trocars, which are pretty low hanging fruit, I would think, especially for us in thoracic surgery. I have to say that we're not using them, but you don't even need a seal in thoracic surgery because you don't have insufflation in the chest. But even in the abdomen, like there's, a number of different trocars that are used. There are ligatures and harmonics. Another thing that's really good and that we recycle is the compression stockings, so SCDs. They actually also have reprocessed ones. We haven't gotten into that yet, but that's one of our future things that we want to do. Start using the reprocessed compression sleeves. But we chose a couple of products and we trialed them. And you can see that there's actually cost. So this is gotten a bit murky, but theoretical cost savings. Like I came into this not knowing anything about supply chain and how contracts work at the hospitals, but the hospitals do have contracts with certain companies to buy certain numbers of things. So when this Stryker said, oh, this is how much money you've saved by using these reprocessed devices, it's not actually probably accurate because we've had to buy other instruments, et cetera. But there is a theoretical cost savings for these reprocessed devices. And, when we looked at the number that we used in the first couple of months, it was like tens of thousands of dollars. The other thing is that, in terms of contracts, our hospital has a contract with Stryker. So we didn't have to come up with a new contract in order to bring in these devices. So what we did was we chose a couple of items. These are the items, I think that the first one, the ligature Maryland. And then we did a trial, like we did, a usual feedback from the surgeons. We, figured out what surgeons use these instruments the most, and then have gone through and gotten feedback from them. And, they loved it. Like there was a couple of incidents at the beginning, but it wasn't out of the ordinary for any other device. So initially there was a bit of pushback, but we said, no, let's keep going. We had a lot of support from our administration, which is key. And then we have kept going. Unfortunately now there are supply chain issues, even with these, similar to everything else we use in the OR, I feel like, but I'm not sure exactly the details of why there's supply chain issues, but that is a bit of an issue. But from a surgical perspective, the surgeons have been very happy with them. And it's really, I think, been a very successful program.